Welcome to Financial Freedom for All, where we help you to master your money and live the dream, one episode at a time. So today we'll be talking about what we wish we knew, and we have our special guest, Gerry McGivern, here with us. And I'm Anna Davis. I'm one of the Senior Vice Presidents in Genistar. And so we're particularly thinking about money and leadership today, Gerry, and what we wish we knew. And so I'm going to ask you a question. With this time being in between Christmas and New Year, it's been a really busy time. Do you naturally reflect in this time of the year, or do you just try to switch off?
Great question, Anna, and thanks for having me. Appreciate it. For those of you who are watching for the first time, my name is Gerry McGivern. I'm one of the founders and executive vice presidents with Genistar. Been around from day one, so a lot of the blame can lay on our shoulders, as it were. But Anna, we go back an awful long time, and we really, really do. And well, when I say a long time, it's been quite some time now. What a journey it's been. When you think back to the early days of Genistar, when we first getting started, who would have dreamt that we would be sitting in a purpose-built studio delivering the message, as it were.
Yeah.
And the message, I think, is very important because, in terms of reflection, and we all do it. I mean, every single one of us do it. There are so many things that people have that they hold dear, and they think, man, I should have done that, or I couldn't have done that, or maybe I should have done that, or I'd like to do that again, or whatever it might be. And I think that, especially at Christmas time, where we hear quite often about people who maybe are not having as good a time as they would like or as they would want, and it's sort of, for a lot of people, comes down to not so much that they haven't got enough. It's that they don't understand how to deal with what they've got. And of course, then there's the other side about people who just really don't have enough, just truly, honestly don't have enough. And I think that a lot of times when we hear about people being, anxious or depressed around Christmas time, it can be triggered or identified as a financial challenge. And so for us at Genistar, the education side of this is so vital, so very, very important. And I'm so proud of our company because that's exactly what we focus on.
It is, isn't it?
What about you?
Yeah, I mean, that whole issue of money for sure. And I think that, whoever you are, however you celebrate Christmas, there's something about that season that's really special. And so I think that very much that reflectiveness happens, whether it's before the day or that in between time. And I think that it's a huge time of reflection, people evaluating their lives and thinking, maybe what do I really want? What things do I need to change? But the thing is, getting this conversation going in the way that we do at Genistar in these podcasts, Financial Freedom for All, it's a way that hope can be delivered, isn't it, Gerry?
Absolutely.
And I think that that's the really special thing about Genistar. I think it's one of the really special things about turning a situation potentially that isn't the best into a better one, and knowing that there is help out there. So I think Genistar as a company, we want to help and deliver hope to people. And so, we're talking about this money and leadership. And I think, taking that question of leadership, we're all a leader, aren't we, in whatever working sphere we find ourselves in. And essentially, I think that potentially that season between Christmas and New Year's where we're reflecting on our own lives and our own leadership of ourselves. So,
looking back Anna, at your younger self, you don't have to look as long back as I do, but looking back at your younger self, if you were to sort of, if you had the hindsight to whisper something in your ear, what would be one of the lessons that you now have that you wish your 18-year-old self or 21-year-old self had a grip on her? For me, if I get the chance to look back when I was 18 or 19 and starting out in life, if I'd have known the importance of saving back then. I mean, listen, I was, young teenager, doing what most teenagers do, having fun, partying, and whatever. But with hindsight, if I had the knowledge that I have now, boy, would life have been different? It would have been a whole different ballgame. So, what about yourself? What would you say to your 18-year-old self when it comes to money?
Yes, I mean, I think saving, isn't it, the wants and needs really in life, and I think probably I was reflecting on this the other day, perhaps in preparation for this time together. But I think when you're younger, in terms of the money that you've got and spending it on the things that you want, it's really fun, isn't it? It is actually fun spending money. We're not going to lie. I think that's probably why we do it, isn't it? It's fun. And, we all like to, buy something special or, just go out and do something a little bit unexpected and spontaneous, perhaps. And I was thinking, probably now what I would do is, in terms of what I would say to myself, because I know that, spending is an enjoyable thing. But as I'm in this season of my life, I'm actually getting a similar sort of kick or high, if you like, about actually seeing my savings part. Yeah. Perhaps it switched a little bit that I don't perhaps enjoy the spending so much, but that mindset of what you can do, because I think sometimes it feels a little bit painful to save, doesn't it? It feels a little bit like, oh, I've got to put that away and I'm not going to be able to have that. But being able to think of it of, actually, that's going to bring me really great peace of mind, potentially at a time where I need it.
I think you hit an important point there,
Yeah.
in the sense that, I've got to save or I've got to put this away, whatever, and that's a pretty apt emotion, really, for most kids, because they don't have any concept of how fast life moves on and how quickly they become 30 and 40 and 50. And it just seems like where did that go to? And you've often heard that say, where have the years gone to? I often try and coach, and I certainly with my kids, I coach them on, listen, you make your savings the exact same as if it were a phone bill. I mean, you wouldn't miss your phone bill, okay? Whether that's £20 a month or £30 a month or whatever it is, you wouldn't miss it. And the reason you wouldn't miss it is because they would cut you off and you would lose this lifeline that you have these days with phones and internet and getting in touch with your friends and whatever it is they do. So make it like a phone bill. Make it like it's something, and it doesn't have to be a lot. A lot of people think that, saving money, I have to put a lot of money away. No, you don't. One of the things I taught my kids was that no matter how much money you make, whether that's £1 or £1,000, take the first 10% of it and allocate that for your future self. I mean, allocate that to your savings plan. And if you do that and you get to the point where it's an automatic transaction, just like a phone bill, it becomes easier. And as you said so well, Anna, it's about getting a kick out of watching your balance grow and watching your future financial situation become free from having to have a boss, from having, can I afford that or can I afford this? And it's having, a lot of our kids these days will fall into debt before they fall into savings. and we need to reverse that. We really, really do.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think that reversing that, I think that that's a huge part about legacy, isn't it? In that our children and the young people around us, if they can truly listen and maybe take the time to see that they don't actually have to go that route, that actually they can go into those savings and be in what might feel like more of a safer place. And so that sort of idea and concept and sort of framework of what we're speaking about today, legacy, it's not just about the financial sort of what you leave behind, but it's actually the values and thoughts and conversations that you have with that younger generation that can really make a difference to their lives.
Like knowledge, isn't it?
Yeah,
It's passing on the knowledge. Is so vitally important. As you know, I got 2 kids. Colleen is now married. Where did that time go, right?
Yeah.
And is the mother of our grandbaby. I can't explain how exciting and how it's like a different type of love when you have this first grandbaby comes along, and as you know, she's going through her pregnancy and all that wonderful stuff. You're sort of in a sort of an automatic mode, right? Yeah, well, she's pregnant. That's great. But but when the moment happens, when that baby comes along, boy, does it change your way of thinking? It's just incredible. And one of the things that I'm so proud of is that my kids have grown up around the concept of Genistar, of helping people, and it started when they were very, very young because, we came from the United States with Primerica and Citigroup to the UK. And when Citi decided to close up shop back in 2007, some of us, including Jeff, myself, stayed behind to go on this journey with Genistar together. And so my kids, when we came from the States, Dara was 6 or 7, and Colleen was 8 or 9. And so they were still in primary school when we came back from the States. And now Dara, he's back in the States. He's a firefighter. We're very, very proud of him. And, initially when we heard what sort of path he was going into, you were fraught with fear for him. But, they're well trained and they do a great job, a phenomenal job. And Colleen is a school teacher. And so they've both learned through Genistar and Primerica experiences that helping people in whatever form you choose in life is a priority.
Yeah.
And I'm so proud of the fact that that my 2 kids have inherited, in terms of a legacy, the knowledge of how important it is not only just to help people, but first of all, there's an old saying in business from Bob Senior that he said, before you can help somebody else, you got to help yourself. Because if you don't have the knowledge, and how are you going to pass it on? So when you look at this whole school system, the other thing they don't teach us is taxation and the importance of understanding how taxation works. Because if you start making, listen, when we go to school, we get this great education, frogs and everything else, right? And then we get out into the big wide workplace, we start making some money. What do? Spend it. It's like there's always more month left at the end of the check. And families are hurting up and down the country, not because they're not making enough money, a lot of them are, but because they don't know what to do with it when they do make it. And so that takes us into a whole new realm of well, what do we do with it? And, one of the things that when we started this company, Genistar, one of the things we discussed about mission and what we wanted to achieve, we didn't start this company to sort of compete with the existing institutions or structures or other companies.
I mean, what you were just talking about Dara and Colleen growing up in the Primerica and the Genistar environment, I think that's a huge part of the legacy, isn't it? Because we can teach them and talk to them about money, but it's how they see what we do as well, which is a huge part of it. And I do know that in terms of my own family, I've hugely valued my in-laws and their approach to money, and just that financial education that they provided both for their children and the wider family as well. And I know that my own children have benefited from that, just in that sense of what to do with your money. And so it's part of what you hear, what you search out in terms of knowledge, but it's about what you catch as well, isn't it, in the environments that you're in. And that's a huge part of it.
I think when you talk to families, as we do on a daily basis, one of the things that always resonates with me is when you ask them the question about a financial services product that they have, and you say, okay, well, tell me what exactly is this product doing for you and your family? And you know that, and at 99% of the time, people go, I don't know. I really don't. Ain't that something? I mean, would you buy a refrigerator for your kitchen without first doing the research into what company is this with? Is it a good one? Is it a bad one? Does it have a track record of breaking down? Do I need to have a servicing agreement? All that sort of stuff. That's the sort of research you do before you purchase that. And yet here we are in probably some of the most important decisions that families will ever make. And we don't know.
Yeah.
Ain't that something?
It is.
So let me ask another question, if I may, because this is interesting. And I know being at the Christmas sort of period, if because it is the period of the year where traditionally it's gifting. We buy gifts and presents for loved ones and friends or whatever it is. If you were able to impart one gift, one money gift, on your kids for Christmas, what would you say you'd be happy to gift them as a valuable gift, and not necessarily money?
It doesn't have to be money, does it? No,
not at all.
I think that's the legacy talking there again, isn't it? And about what's the most important values that you pass on to your family. So I think it's got to be probably one of my core values is how you treat others, and that's the leadership of yourself in your own life, and again that's what's caught by your family members. And I think when you can be that type of person, and then when you see what that impact has on others around you, not just over a week, but over, months and years going forward, that's what really holds weight and value, I think, in a person's life, isn't it?
Yeah. And, this, when we talked about legacy and leadership, they're very much intertwined. They have similar meaning, really, because giving somebody the ability to lead, or allowing somebody the ability to lead, is almost similar to giving a legacy, to leaving a legacy, because you're imparting in them the ability to leave legacy. But one of the greatest gifts that I think you can give anybody is knowledge. If you have, a person once said to me one time, he said, well, Jay, you, this is wonderful and it's doing great, and when will you retire? And my answer is never. You see, people look at retirement as, and probably rightly so, they've worked hard for 40 years grafting, or 50 years, whatever it is, and they just want to hang up the bootstraps, right? They just want to get away from that job, that environment of having to struggle through life. They just want to, man, I'm done now. But when you think about this, the day we're born until the day we are able to stand on our own 2 feet, that first 18 years of life, we're cared for. We have limited responsibilities. We have loving, caring parents and home life and all the rest of it. And then between 18 and 65, we get into the job market, and you know something, hey, most people don't like what they do for a living. I mean, statistical proven fact. And so from 18 to 65, I don't know how many years that is, my mathematics isn't that great, we work, and then the average lifespan in the country is 83. So we have 18 years of no responsibility, and then we have 40 to 50 years of work to have what? 10 to 15 years of freedom. See, now if you backtrack a little bit on that, and you go back to where if you were 18 years of age, like we talked about at the very start of this, and if we knew then what we know now, then this later part of your life can be absolutely enjoyed. And, Anna, it can be extended. Because when you ask people the question, when do you think you're going to retire? Most people just roll their eyes and say, oh, probably 65 or 67. Yeah? Why? You see, retirement is never an age thing. Retirement's a money thing. Because I promise you, if you ask people who are at work and people watching this today, if you had the ability financially to retire at 50, would you still work, or would you quit and do something that you love to do because money's not an issue? And the answer is going to be, man, I'd be out of there at 50. I'd be doing playing with my garden or whatever it is you want to do, right? Traveling and whatever, because finances are not an issue. See, people work to 65, 67 because they don't have any choice. They have to build pension credits. They have to build a nest egg. and over 30% of people don't even reach that age. You know that? 30% of people will pass before they reach retirement age in this country. So backtracking that down back to where we started, the importance of passing on information. The greatest gift that I would give at Christmas time is to sit your kids down and say, okay, for the next couple of hours, I need your attention. And just teach them some of these basic concepts, like the 10, 10, 10, 70 rule, the rule of 72, how to properly protect yourselves in the event of something going wrong with your plan. How to plan, there's another one, how to plan for the future. What is yourself going to look like 10 years from now or 20 years from now? What's your goals in life? Have you broken them down, written them down? Do you read them every day? Those are gifts of legacy insofar as I'm concerned, that far outweigh any gift of money. You see, you can give your kids, or you can leave money, okay, as a legacy, okay, and it's important to do so. And that legacy ends right there, okay? Or you can leave a legacy of knowledge, and that will be extended and passed on for generation after generation.
Yeah.
So which is the most valuable?
Yeah.
Good question.
I know what you're saying though, Gerry, about passing it on, and but the way that I've found with my children is to because in all honesty, I think probably my parents, probably my father probably would have taken that approach of sitting me down and having that conversation. And I think for me, there wasn't potentially, the relationship that meant that I would sit and listen, perhaps. So the way that I do it with my daughters is that I just drip feed it into them. I don't, there's different ways of doing it, isn't it? But
my point was, when Christmas time, which is we're in now, is traditionally the time where families get together, where sort of love is an abundance,
Yeah.
where everybody's sharing, gifts and the weather's nasty and we all want to stay indoors and huddled up. All I'm saying is we at this time of
That
year
sharing,
we have
isn't it?
perfect opportunity to impart knowledge. The rest of the year everybody's doing their thing. They're busy. Life gets in the way. Kids are at school. And you're right. Kids don't necessarily want to listen to mom and dad preach to them, and that's I think maybe not the point I was trying to make. The point I was making was have the conversation.
Yeah, it's the conversation that's important. Yeah,
Absolutely.
Yeah, really good.
So, Anna, you and I know each other for quite a long time now, and we know that the circumstances on how you have really become one of the most prominent leaders in our company now, senior vice president, running your own base shop and running other base shops as well with people, and sometimes people say leadership is you inherit leadership through business. I mean, you get promoted to the CEO, you get promoted to the whatever it is, the COO. But the reality is that you found leadership sort of dropped on your lap, as it were.
I did.
Yeah, and that was
absolutely right.
The challenge, I think, for you when it comes to leadership was not so much could you do it because you're a natural at it. Okay, I mean, but it was more of should I do it, or could you sort of elaborate a little bit or expand on
Yeah, absolutely. So for people maybe who are listening that don't know what we're talking about here exactly is I inherited our franchise style of business in Genistar through my husband passing away. And we'd had in our lives a varied working life together, but also some financial disappointments as well, and life experience. And so in terms of a leadership challenge that taught me more than a success, life is just so mingled with all different lessons, isn't it? And I think that he passed away in the season in between Christmas and New Year, and it took me 3 days to make the decision after he passed away to take on the business. And in terms of a leadership success, I would say what I would attribute that success to is being consistent in some things. And for me, I'm a person of faith. And so for me, being in an environment where there were other leaders ahead of me and learning from them has been a huge part of my life. And so I knew at that point of that disaster in the life of our family that I needed to make a quick decision. And it actually, at the time, it didn't really matter to me whether it was the right decision or not. I just knew that I needed to make a quick decision because I knew that I needed to keep moving. And so that's what I did. And, there could be a question around that of, because he was a very successful person, how was it going to look with me? And again, I think throughout our lives together, I'd always had to run my own race, run my own lane. And I love the fact that marriage is a partnership, because I know that in some ways he might not have been all that he was if I hadn't been alongside him, in the same way that I might not have been all that I was without him in my life. So it's very much a partnership. And so I had always been running my own lane, facing my own challenges, and having to change along that journey. And, you know, I don't think there's any leader who can stand up and say, I did it perfectly. Because I think as human beings, I just don't think that happens. And, you know, I think it's when life throws challenges at you, it's how you deal with them, how you respond to them that really matters. So in that season of our lives, I made that decision in 3 days to do what I did. And I didn't know what it was going to look like. I didn't know if I was going to be able to do it. But all I did know is I was going to give it my best shot. And I think that there's a phrase that I've sort of lived with over time, which is better to have tried and failed than to have not, you know, tried at all.
Well, you're far from a failure, that's for sure. You know, I had and still do have the utmost respect for Roger and what he was setting out on his journey with the company. You know, Genistar, and I mean this, I mean, from the bottom of my heart, you know, Genistar would not be in the place it is in today without the leadership of both yourself and Roger and all the other people that have stuck by it. You know, it sometimes takes a special type of person to not to overcome adversity, but to be able to slot adversity into a category that they can deal with it and cope with it, and at the same time move on and move forward. And you guys, I mean, you have just been exemplary. I mean, you have been such an inspiration to me, and I know just about every other person in the company who knows your background, your story, that they take great inspiration from you and what you've been able to do. And you know, as we often say here in the company, the best is yet to come. And I believe that. It truly is the best is yet to come. And leadership, I think, you know, I've been very blessed in my life in meeting and speaking with lots of what can only be described as phenomenons. I mean, you know, when you take Bob Safford Sr., who was my, not only my mentor, he was my friend. I mean, the guy babysat my kids when they were low high. Him and Barbara used to come around. His wife Barbara used to come around the house and babysit for us on occasion. And you know, I just got to know this guy so well. Came over to the United Kingdom with him from the States, and through him met people like Tom Hopkins, John Maxwell, John Addison. And lots, Jimmy Meyer, all these great leaders that, you know, have multiple books, bestseller books on success and achievement and leadership. And, you know, I've been so lucky to have met a huge amount of people in my life because of that one initial introduction to leadership through Bob Sr. And so I often talk about the legacy in Genistar and what is it you want to have as your legacy. You know, there's two things really, and the first one for me is loyalty. I mean, it's like, you know, Bob Sr. has been passed on now for 13 or 14 years now, and you know, I still have him in my speed dial on my phone. Still in there. Can't bear to take him off. Really can't. Oh, some crack when it rings someday and it comes up Bob Senior. But you know, he's still in. So he has played such a big role in my life, because let me tell you something. You know, where I come from, nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing in my background would ever have predicted that I would be where I'm at today. My sort of legacy was led out by growing up in war-strewn Belfast in Northern Ireland, where oppression, where it just turmoil, social turmoil, was all the way through my young years and teenage years. And so my life had been mapped out. If I was lucky, I would have a job. if I was lucky, I would maybe have a trade. But this stuff, not in a million years. And so I can only put that down now when I look back at that and think about, where I've come. People sometimes say, you gotta forget your past. You gotta, your past should never determine your future. And whilst that's true, I think sometimes we do have to look back to see where we've come from, and let those lessons that we've learned along the way be front and center when we're, talking to other people or helping other people, and giving these leadership skills that we've all developed to others. So important.
Yeah, yeah. And I think always in whatever you do, however you come to it, there's always something of who you are that's unique to the leadership that you have, that no one leader is going to be the same as another. And I think for me, stepping into the role that my late husband Roger did, because we'd done leadership roles for many years before that, I knew that I was never going to be like him, because I wasn't him. And yet I think there's been a discovery in some ways of who I am. Some of the rough edges that perhaps I've had, but then also seeing those qualities actually that maybe, and it's not a comparison thing, but that I've brought to the role that is unique to me, and being able to see the value and the strength within those as well, and celebrating them.
So, as we go through the Christmas period, and you have developed skills, I'm sure, beyond anything you ever thought of when you were your younger self. And, we're at this time of year now where a lot of people will take time to reflect. You see, one of the problems that I think that entails for a lot of people is that the reflection is not a nice one, because the year hasn't gone the way that I would have liked it. They got more debt. The struggles are more real. I mean, just look at today's cost of living and increases, and how things have changed since the pandemic, for everybody, not just for a few, but for just about everybody. And to bring it down to the basics, we hear a lot about go try and purchase the same amount of bags of groceries today that you could a year ago with the same money, and you'll find it now impossible. So I've got a question for you here, and it's probably relevant because of the discussion we've had around leadership. Now that we have this sort of downtime, family time, where we are together between Christmas and New Year, and everybody's trying to figure out, one part of it is reflection, and another part of it is, 2026 going to be my year. It's watch my smoke, man. I won't get done in 2026. But we'll get to Christmas 2026 and we'll have the same challenges. And the problem is, I think, is in that we don't just take the time to reflect properly and sort of plan the next steps, plan the future out. So the question I would like to ask you is, how can we as individuals or family members use this in-between time to reflect on what we've learned, and how we'll carry that into the new year, into the future, and what is, and probably most importantly, how are we going to pass this on to people who need to know about it?
Well, I think, in these times that we live in, it's got to be something that we've got to consider our own well-being in, because I think it can be quite a big topic. And, everybody's got individual and different circumstances. And I really love the idea of taking one thing and keeping things really simple. And so whatever the situation that people find themselves in, just think of one thing that you can make a change in, because life can be really overwhelming. There's a lot going on. I mean, if you've got children, that's huge. You know, our world is changing massively. But I think just think about the one thing that you want to make a difference in. And if we're thinking specifically about money and leadership, I would say think of the one thing that you can do differently with your finances that's going to take you into strength and not into hardship. And that may mean saving. But what is saving? I think being very specific about it is really important. So even if it's going, well, I want a fund of £500, which is an emergency fund, then that could be a first step. Or whatever the amount, perhaps, you know, if you're able to start investing, well, think about building up a nest egg of a little bit of savings in order to be able to open that, you know, investment fund. But just keep it achievable. Think of the one thing, and then as you make those incremental steps for that change to happen, you will see results. And then in terms of leadership, I think as human beings, we can all be aware of maybe things that we need to change. And I think we're also probably in the UK very prone to going, oh, I'm not so good at this and I need to change that because, you know, that's not good. But maybe it's something different. Maybe it's actually changing how you're thinking about the successes in your life. That actually in every person's life, there's something that's successful. There's something that we've done well, and that actually we can sit back and reflect and actually be really proud of that. So that season that perhaps typically can be something reflecting, but also melancholic or not so good, I would encourage everybody to go, well, let's think about the one potentially achievable thing they could do in their finance that's going to take them to a stronger place and not a harder place, but then also celebrate a success that you've got. And I think possibly you could even do that just sat in your living room and just looking around, and whether it's your toddler that sat next to you or your grandchild, Gerry, you can just sit and really just be grateful, be thankful, and think about what's really important and what's good in your life. Yeah.
That's tremendous. It really, really is. And it is a time for thinking, isn't it? Reflection is thinking, isn't it? And I think if I could impart anything onto anybody in this coming year, it would be to share the good news of what's achievable for everybody, bar nobody. You know, one of the things you mentioned about money earlier was we both talked about saving, investing.
And I think it takes some bravery as well, doesn't it, Gerry? Because I think one of the things that we share with families is the budget tracker, and it's not considered necessarily a very fun thing to do, but if strength is your objective, it's a really courageous and brilliant thing to do.
I think that's one of the unique things, the qualities that we have here at Genistar as well, because when we create a client experience, it's not like the industry has typically and naturally sort of evolved, where we do a bit of business and then that's the last you hear of it. I mean, it's like, see you later, and we don't hear from you unless we need you. One of the wonderful things with Genistar is that when you become a client with Genistar, you become part of our family. We care for you.
So true.
And not only do we care for you, but we take care of you. So this is a journey that we both go on. Yeah. It's not a one-off deal. You know, we'll talk to you on a regular basis. If you have a plan that you wanted to implement that you could see benefit in, we're going to help you, support you, and encourage you on that journey. So it's not about selling a product to somebody. No. It's about come join us. come into our family and let
Yeah.
us help you, let us support you on your journey.
Yeah, so Gerry, it's been a brilliant, brilliant time together today, and thanks so much. You do really encapsulate that loyalty, that delivering of legacy, and everything that you've been a part of in the history of your journey in financial services. And I know that so many people in the company are so grateful for that, and we look to you and everything that you've done. So thank you so much for everything that you do.
I really appreciate it, and again, boy, I tell you, we wouldn't be the same company if it weren't for you and Roger and all the things that you guys brought to the table over the years. Very, very proud of you. So happy New Year.
Yeah, Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Have a wonderful one.
Yeah, so thank you for joining us today on Financial Freedom for All. So join us next time for more ideas about mastering your money and living really the dream that you want to live, with all the legacy and leadership that we've spoken about today and more. So thanks so much, everybody.